Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's Rosie Convoy here, and my co-host Jason Bainbridge.
Good
Welcome to
evening.
welcome to Between Two Flags. It's our special episode. We had a show a couple of nights ago, and our guests were having some technical difficulties, so we managed to get somebody in backstage who's there for sure. Safely arrived at Camp Hope today, and yeah, how's it going, Jason? How's it going in Vietnam today?
It's going good. I was listening to one of our supposed guests today, Jamie. His name is Jamie, telling us about how he can now actually blame Justin Trudeau for not making it to the so now they've both got a place in history, right? So we can blame everything on Ardern, and now we can absolutely definitively blame Trudeau for getting them in that area where they were completely knocked out of communication.
Yeah, there was a lot of the whole Eastern convoy today was pretty silent. They were being followed by masses of policemen, and what did Jamie said? It was the Special Crimes Unit that was following them, and they were setting up roadblocks. So apparently, the military were doing drills on how to control a convoy, and they were practicing on the Eastern group. So anyway, we have a special guest today. We have Colin BigBear. He's backstage at the moment, or was. Where is he? Oh yeah, he's still there. So without further ado, here's welcoming Colin BigBear. Hi, Colin BigBear.
Hey, how's it going, guys? You having a good night?
Having a great night.
I'm having a great morning.
Right.
You're in Vietnam, New Zealand, and from Vietnam, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a Kiwi from Vietnam. Yes, and so we are exactly 12 hours behind. 12 hours behind the Eastern time.
You're 12 ahead, so it's 11 o'clock on Friday.
Ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, 12 hours ahead of Eastern time.
Yeah.
So it is exactly the opposite.
Yeah. I've been all over the world. I've been on like over 35 countries, and I definitely know the time frames and differences. I haven't been to Vietnam. I went to the Philippines. I've been to India, those kind of countries. So love to travel. Amazing people in that part of the world. So you're lucky to be there.
It's more fun in the Philippines.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, it's always more fun in the Philippines. Now, Big Bear, I guess we'll call you, even though your name is Colin, but I like the name Big Bear. It's kind of like my handle for Rosie here is Teddy Bear, and I'm a rubber ducky. So now we got a Big Bear, right? And apparently, I heard there was a mama bear hanging around somewhere as well. So we're going to stack up a little family there. Now you're actually there in the convoy. There are two convoys. Actually, there are multiple convoys at the moment, but there are two main convoys. One is the eastern one, and one is the western one. Now, I know that the eastern convoy has been spotted all the way by government officials, all the way from the time they started to the time they left. I think they even passed a caravan of Trudeau's wagons. I think he was even in the area, and for some reason, like all the cell phone communications were blocked. That was during our last show, actually. Just as we're about to start, they hit that black area, and so we actually went ahead and did the thing without them. But still, yeah, they're experiencing a lot of difficulties, a lot of adversity to make this Eastern convoy working. But you guys have been pumping it, and so much footage has been coming out of your groups that it's really amazing what's going on, and it's really inspiring too, I might add. It's really inspiring to see this happen and to see it grow the way it has grown over the last 4 or 5 days. Started off as a straight little bunch of cars. It was still feeling a good amount of cars, but now it's just lines and lines and lines and lines of convoy.
Oh yeah, we definitely have the momentum. We have so much momentum, and like there was roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, like what you were just talking about in Ontario. Like it's been a complete, like it's been so disappointing getting so many roadblocks, and like we're the type of people who we don't put up with roadblocks. You know what I mean? We either go around them, over them, under them, and my favorite way, through them. you know, and we were going to make this happen no matter what. And it was really tough to put this together this time. I'm not going to lie. Did you want to say something, Rosie? Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you waved, so I wasn't sure if.
You were, I watched you in Ottawa last year. You were one of my favorite people. I shared your videos to the New Zealand group.
Oh, okay.
Last year, so I'm just a little bit starstruck. You'll have to forgive me.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. No worry. No star here. Just you know, just an average guy trying to help my country, help the children, use my voice, you know, and keep the momentum going in a loving, positive way. That's what I do. I use my voice to keep the momentum. I drive momentum. I get behind something with my heart and soul, and I drive it forward. You know, and I'm very good with social media. I've been good with social media for a lot of years. So I have so many numerous social media accounts. I actually had both my Facebook and my TikTok just on the way here get completely restricted. I can't even post on my one account on TikTok of, you know, I got about 39,000 followers on that account, but that's okay because I just jump on another one and start blasting it on there, or I send it to other influencers who I know within the movement, because all of us influencers, you know, we're all friends. We're fighting the same battle, so we've all become friends, and we just ship it to each other. So in one way or another, we figure out the loopholes, right? And yeah, we hit so many roadblocks, and it's real. What the government wants to crush us and shut us up, and that's because, well, we're exposing them. People are actually waking up in Canada. You know, a lot of people might think there's no hope here and we're lost, and like, no, that's the farthest thing from the truth. The Great Awakening is happening, no matter what. Whether people want to accept it or not, it is happening. Okay, the vibration is going up. God is waking up people all over the world, and that is what's going to take place. You know, but nobody ever said it was going to be easy. You know what I mean? This wasn't going to be an easy journey. Oh, Rosie, oh, you're waving. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That throws me off because I'm in meetings all the time and people put their hand up. So, anyways, it's all good. You know, and the World Unity Convoy discussion came up months ago. And some of the larger influencers, you know, even James Bowder was involved, Ron Clark, you know, Serena Bear, some of the biggest influencers, you know, Mr. Freedom, were all involved, and we are all coming to the table to, you know, bring people together, right? And, you know, and so I was 100% behind it. You know, I was like, absolutely. That's what we need, because we're starting to see infighting right now. We're starting to see all these different groups. Everyone's starting to kind of bicker with each other. You know what I mean? Well, and it's kind of like, it's kind of natural. Everyone's finding their voice. You know what I mean? They're stepping up into leadership roles. And so now we're all becoming leaders, but a lot, you know, you get your egos bashing heads. So it's not like they want to be fighting with each other. It's just people want to go the direction they want to go, you know, with their voice, right? So, you know, and it's like, we have to understand, you got all these different groups now everywhere. You know, there's like hundreds of groups in Canada now. So you have to kind of start getting all those groups together in a calm, collective way. And you have to structure a meeting like this out. If you're going to get everybody together, you got to structure it. You can't just throw them in a meeting and be unprepared. Or else people are going to be like, well, there's no structure here. There's no blueprint. What do I follow? Where's the map? You know what I mean? Because apparently, you know, there's a map for fighting the devil and evil and tyranny and Illuminati, right? You know, I wish there was one.
So you know, I wish
a handbook would come in handy right about now. You know, not looking up to you or anything, God, but anytime now. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's no real path here, and we have to get people to sit down and at least agree on one thing. You know, you don't have to agree on everything, because we're never going to agree on everything, but at least agree on one thing. You know, like a future for the children, right? It's about the children. It's like, you guys have your belief systems, I have mine. We're all on the same road. So let's come together. Let's sit at the table at least. Let's put down the ego enough to sit at the table, and then let's drive this forward. So even from the beginning of starting the World Unity Convoy, right, it got a little messy. But you know what? It still happened. And that's the incredible thing about it. It still happened. We're at Camp Hope. We showed up today. Man, there was so many trucks coming from the West Coast. The East Coast guys were, you know, sending us videos, and then people were just jumping in all along the way. We didn't know who anybody was, you know what I mean? Well, we did know some, obviously, but like for the most part, like people were just rolling off the side of the highway, you know, jumping in with us in every town. And, you know, and that makes it very organic, you know what I mean? It's organic in that sense where, you know, people were like, yeah, I'm ready for something like this because they see it. So
that's right. We've been sharing the videos from East West, both of the Facebook groups, and yeah, you can just see like people are just randomly just joining in the convoy, and I think that's what made New Zealand's convoy very successful as well. Is that we started off a very small crowd. Most of them were actually flag wavers. Most of them came out of two groups, Freedom and Rights Coalition and also Voices for Freedom, from what I can gather. And a lot of them were flag wavers, or the Freedom and Rights Coalition. They're very good at gathering a big crowd together. So it started with a very small convoy, but a lot of support, and I think that really drove a lot of the people to be on the waving the flag. And then when the convoy went by, they were like, "Okay, I'm going to wag the flag, and I'm going to get in the convoy." And then they jump in, and then boom, all the way.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People think that these convoys are truckers. No, that's quite it's quite the opposite now. Originally, yes, last year there was a large majority of truckers. There were like 50,000 truckers, you know, but there was 1.4 million people was like the estimate that showed up in Ottawa the first day. You know what I mean? So do the math, right? It was the people. It was the people who stood up. The truckers are the ones who finally initiated it because we were all thinking it. We were all sitting home. We were all thinking we're alone. We're thinking, what can we do for the nation? Like I was telling my buddies literally like weeks before Ottawa, like we got to march to Ottawa. We got to go to their house because they're showing up at our house every day. We go to these government buildings in our small local towns. We're reading some signs. We bang our drum. We go home. They look out the window. Are they gone? And that's it. You know, I've
got a video from your Facebook channel, and I think it's the very first post that you posted when you got to Camp Hope, and we've already had Walter Hebert here on the show, so we've already had our showcase experience with him. He's pretty damn awesome, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I want to give a big shout out to Walter. Seriously, that man made this happen. From the bottom of my heart, Walter, you are absolutely amazing. Everybody else that, you know, came with us on board, you know, Ron Clark, Serena Bear, all the other people that helped to drive this forward, you know, we love you so much. There was, you know, Monique and Greg. These are just phenomenal people. And then all the people in the background, like there's you got to have a ton of back end people here too. Like, you know, there's so many moving parts. So I'm so appreciative of all those people. Seriously.
Yeah, there's a lot of organization involved in this, and it's really cool to get those people to jump in the convoy and to wave their flags and all that, and to, but they also should realize there's a lot of sweat and tears, blood, sweat, and tears going into this organization. There's a lot of legal issues to think about. You've got to actually negotiate with the police. You've got to inform the police where you're going. You've got to get their not consent, but you've got to work with them as well. And hopefully, if you hit the right person, the right officer, someone's going to be sympathetic to you. But most of the time, they're not going to be sympathetic to you, especially with the government one-way street narrative that they've built. So yeah, there's an extensive background of people who don't get paid or anything to sit there, do the comms, do the organizations, make the posters, do all the meetings, organize all the different groups, and then you got peacemakers in there as well. Peacemakers who have to calm down all the fires and get everybody back on board.
That's right. Every time there's a fire, you all got to pick up the phone, and we're all calling each other, you know, and you know, I'll call this person, I'll call that person. And it's just nonstop fires. It's like you're putting out fires the entire time. But like I said, nonetheless, it did happen. It is happening. It is going to be amazing. I was so excited when I seen, you know, the Eastern Convoy when they came in. I was so pumped up because like it's like my brothers. You know, it's like it's like the clans, you know, the tribes are gathering, right? And we called upon them and they showed up, you know, and it's like the tribes are coming together, right? And it's just a beautiful thing to see.
This is a really good example for New Zealand now. The second wave, the second round of they're completely different people from the first one, and which is fantastic for me. You know, I think it's fantastic. We made our group to support the original one, New Zealand Truckers Convoy 2022 Freedom, and it became a sort of a sort of a cult. We created a cult following from the overspill of one of the other groups, which didn't last very long. Although it got really big, up to like 90,000 members on Facebook, and then they just sort of ripped it. They got ripped. The guts got ripped out of it. So a lot of people were coming over to our group, and so our group kind of blew up as well because of the fact that there was so many controls, so many attacks by you know, social media, I guess, which we later on found out was had a backdoor to our own government. The government had our own backdoor to Facebook services. So there are lots of ways that these people are doing this. But I do have this video set up now. It's set up and I'm ready to press play. So I'm going to ask Rosie
Her, brother.
to bring
Let's
it in
go.
on her present to make sure that we're on the right page, because sometimes we get the wrong present up.
I picked the right
Look at
one.
that.
We're good to go.
Perfect first time. Perfect. My volume's up. I'm muted and I'm ready to go.
All right.
All right. We are in Cap Hope. A big warm welcome going on. Look at everybody starting to roll in. Hello.
So I hear we believe we're
Well, our family all decided to show up. Look at my brother here. Hey, hey. Love you, buddy. Good to see ya. Good to see ya.
What's up, G? Thanks for all the help you do, bro.
Hey, thanks, Roger.
All right, so I'm just going to turn the volume down for a minute so we can have a little convo about that. Now, this is the first crowd that has turned up to Camp Hope already. There, Big Bear.
Yeah, so that's the crowd from the west. That's the West Coast crowd.
And you guys
Awesome.
started from Victoria, right?
Yeah, that's right. Those guys went far. Like I drove close to 2,000 kilometers, I would say, and they were. Man, the island alone is a couple hours till you get to Victoria, depending on where you are, right? And then to get to me from Vancouver, you're looking at least around 6 hours. So, you know, they're about 8 hours, I would say, was probably the longest person from me in British Columbia. So they definitely took a trek.
It's still very
Awesome,
exciting.
yeah.
How many vehicles do you figure?
There was a few hundred from the west.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a few hundred for sure from the west, and there's people flying in from all over the country. You know, like I have a native politician coming from northern Alberta. You know, and they're dropping in. You know, to come speak for a day. You know, and then they're popping in and out. People are really like there's people flying from all over the country coming in. I'm sure I got like a bunch of messages. When I was posting all this, I popped on my Facebook and I was like, you know, it's a good time to book a flight to Winnipeg if you want to do something for the weekend. And literally a whole bunch of people were messaging me, we're on our way. I'm leaving Calgary tonight. I'll see you in the morning. And like some people were telling me they're flying in. One guy just messaged me. He's coming from Toronto. So like people see what's happening here and they're liking what they see in the momentum. And, you know, that's what gets people excited. People want to see crowds. People want to see people show up, you know, because we are stronger in numbers, right? So, did we lose her?
I'm not quite sure what happened, but yeah, she ducked out for a little bit there. But don't worry, the show does go on. I'm still here.
We'll keep it going.
We'll keep it going. Yeah. So what we've been doing, Judy and I, is we've been hard at it, sharing over to our groups, our New Zealand groups, and international groups that we have in contact with, because I also have a bunch of, there are a lot of countries do convoys. So when I set up my Facebook group, I made sure that I joined a lot of the international, like Italy and Germany and Poland and the Balkans, even the Balkans, believe it or not, the Balkans had their own convoy going on. So we've been hard out sharing this stuff,
You name it, like Albania, Germany, the Finns. Like that's actually where some of my biggest TikToks came out of, because I was watching these countries from around the globe and I was pushing the momentum from Canada. I was jumping online. Even Ireland was catching momentum, and I jumped on and I did this video about Ireland, pushing their revolution, and that went just completely viral. I had so many people from Ireland messaging me, like, the thing is, we don't get to see this right firsthand because they are screening so much of our media. This is the same problem. It doesn't matter where you go in the world. We're all under the same umbrella. We're all putting up with the same corruption. It's all the same evil. This one world government, all these governments are just puppet governments. They're all fake. They're all on
just
strings.
Yep, they're corporate lackeys.
Their bosses are called dollar bills, and they've sold out to dollar bills. They've sold their souls for dollar bills. It's all about greed, and they all had their price, and they all took a buyout, and now they're going to have to pay for their consequences because we've caught on.
That's right. The people have woken up.
That's one of the biggest reasons I think it's important, like the show Between Two Flags, because when I was watching you guys in Ottawa last year, it was like clockwork. I mean, I was watching the exact same thing happening in New Zealand. It was day 23 that the cops came in and cleared you guys out. It was day 23 that the cops came in and cleared them out. And it was just the exact same tactics. And I was just like, it was like watching it in surround sound. It was delayed, but it was the exact same playbook. And I was like, how can people, like, wow, this is incredible. So I was sharing a lot what was happening in Canada to New Zealand. And actually the morning of the 23rd, I remember posting in the New Zealand group, congratulations, you guys, if you can make it through today. You lasted longer than we did in Ottawa. And within hours, the cops were coming in and starting to rip out the tents and started to, they used fire hoses on the people.
Wow.
Yeah. And so.
That was insane.
We were able to overwhelm them so much in numbers that they didn't know what to do. They were terrified. Every politician was terrified. Even Trudeau, like, he got in his plane and he took off like the little sissy he is. He's such a wiener. You know what I mean? You're no leader. You got in your plane and you ran away like a little baby, instead of standing up and saying, hey, well, you know what? Something's wrong here. Maybe my conscience should kick in and I should have a meeting with these people. Maybe the opposition should have done the same. Pierre. And we didn't see any of it. We didn't see any politicians. We did see some politicians. Okay, I shouldn't say that, but they didn't have as large of a voice. We did see some, but not many. But the politicians who did have a voice, they weren't speaking up for us at all until it was convenient for them to say, oh, wow, these guys got some numbers. Maybe I should start bringing it up now. Maybe win me a few votes in the future, but it's pretty pathetic that we got people getting fired from jobs, dying in the streets, homelessness at an all-time rate, suicide, mental health. It's wrong. It's wrong. Okay. Do you know the difference between right and wrong? Like, and you can't call it out for what it is. Like, are you that weak of a leader that you can't call out right and wrong? Because that's all it is. Yeah. It's like, okay, this is right and this is wrong. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Simple. But nothing. We didn't even hear that. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's those that didn't until it was convenient.
Yeah, exactly.
People that are grappling with common sense these days, it's pretty astounding. The huge amounts of people that are grappling with simple common sense at the moment. It's really a trying time for a lot of what we call pure bloods. I guess most of us are pure bloods. Not really. That's not really the word. Awakened souls, I guess, is the best word. Or awakened souls.
I don't like to say pure blood. I don't use the word.
Yeah.
I don't like
I
to
realize
discriminate
that.
like that, but
Yeah.
it could push people away. But yeah, you're right. No, you know what? We're all human beings at the end of the day. Okay, I come from a First Nations background. I'm half white. I'm half Native. I see both sides of the coin. There's racism on both sides. There's there's good and bad people on both sides. You got people who are good at art. You got good people who are good at science on both sides. You got the black sheep in the family. You got that one auntie that just never stops. And you know what? We're all human beings. And that's it.
Yeah,
It's as simple
we've
as
all
that.
got
We just need to learn
Yeah.
how to come back to being human beings again and say, hey, you know what? I can have my belief systems, you can have yours, and guess what? We can love and respect each other, and we can have an integrity at the same time. We can honor ourselves in doing the right thing and having integrity, not living in lies, not living in greed, not living in all this bullshit, the world wants us to live in. You know what I mean? Because it's all facade, it's all fake, it's all a lie. Right?
You're
It's all an illusion, as we were taught in
conspiracy
television
theory.
film school.
What's that?
That's it. You're talking like a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I
don't
don't know
want
if
to be a
I'm the
conspiracy
conspiracy.
theorist.
I don't know if I'm the conspiracy theorist anymore. Trudeau was shooting down UFOs last week.
Yeah.
I
There you
gave
go,
the order
nailed it.
to the military to shoot down UFOs. Like Trudeau, you have your speeches written for you every single day. Don't tell
Yeah.
me you're capable of shooting down any UFO, bro, because you can't even write your own speech, let alone put on your own socks. So
That's right.
He probably has somebody buy those socks for him. I don't think he
Yeah.
actually buys those
Yeah.
fancy socks.
Yeah, he's probably on Canadian tax dollars.
Trudeau, Ardern, Zelensky. Now, what are the things that they have in common? Actors, like actual actors, attempted actors, right?
Yeah.
So Zelensky actually starred on a TV show. Trudeau actually starred on a TV show, right? I heard, I don't know if this is urban legend, but apparently she applied for a role on Lord of the Rings and failed.
Really?
Yeah,
No.
and failed.
It's like
Who
Lord
is that? Who is that?
The
They're
former Prime Minister
of New
New
Zealand, Ardern. I couldn't imagine her in Lord of the Rings. That sounds like sacrilege. Those are my favorite movies.
Can I
Yes.
put something into perspective for you about actors?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say unless she was
Tell
going
me
for Gollum.
how many people from Hollywood you've seen speak up.
Like
Well,
two.
on the woke side, plenty. Aside from maybe John Voight.
I saw
No.
Tim
No,
Robbins.
not many. Not
Tim-
many.
Not
A
many.
small
Not
handful, and they've
Yeah,
lost their
tiny.
jobs. You're not hearing Hollywood talk at all. These people are influencers. They hold massive influence. They worship the almighty dollar again. They've sold their soul to Satan. These people, they're connected with pedophilia, sex trafficking, human trafficking. They're pieces of shit. Pardon my French. I've been trying to call out more of the hardline things in this, because it's true. Like look at the Epstein Island lists that's just come out, and all these Hollywood stars that were on that island. These people are all interconnected. They're all in the same circle, and you are who your friends are. Actors.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like I studied film and television, and that's how I learned about the television Illuminati. Although that television Illuminati, they're not the real thing. They're more like they call them Illuminaries. But that's how I learned about it. I was working on a project and I brought in a producer who had experience in Hawaii and had been around the industry for about 30 years, starting off as a cameraman in the US at football games and all that, and went up to TV shows and all of that history. And so I invited him over, and I was doing a project in China, of all places. And he sat me down and started talking about it. And I was like, what are you talking about? The Illuminati, what's that? And he said, oh, Jay, I don't want to get involved with those people anymore. They're crazy, man. And then he proceeds to go on and explain to what happens in the TV industry. And so that was firsthand from a guy who'd worked in producing and worked in Hollywood and worked in the industry for 30 years. you know.
Yeah.
So
Well,
so
and it's not like these people are bad people when they're starting off. It's when they hit a certain level of influence, right? And then they have to choose whether they're going to sell their soul to the devil or whether they're going to let their morals and integrity come in, right? Or their spirituality, and that's what happens. They get like people who like all these record labels. It's just buying your soul. That's it. This is just so they can control you, right? You have your agent. He tells you what you can say, you can't say, blah blah blah. It's just all controlling what they want you to be programmed with, right? Flashy cars, nice women all around you, dollar bills. That's life. It's not life.
who was that? Weinstein and guys like Harvey Weinstein hanging about. And I tell you, man, I'm not going to mention this person's name, but I tell you, this guy's a prolific womanizer. Yeah, absolutely prolific. And but yeah, even the Chinese, the local Chinese government that we're working on a tourism. It was a tourism board project. It was just about local tourism, and it was actually an opportunity for me as a storyteller to tell stories about foreigners living inside China in the small town that we were living in, and so we took a variety of different approaches to small videos and talking to local people as well, you know. But yeah, the industry itself is full of rituals, absolute rituals. Like they have crazy orgies and everything. And the guy was telling me that like back in the day, he used to be a camera op, and this is the kind of work that you would do, and you'd think that it was for like mainstream pornography or something like that. No, it wasn't. It was just like a bunch of celebrities getting together and having orgies, you know.
It's called
Not
Epstein
bad.
Island. It's called Epstein
Yeah.
Island, and the list is coming out.
Yeah.
Simple, like these guys are caught in their act, and you can thank the internet actually for that, because it's given us the ability to spread mass information at an accelerated rate. They want to be able to control us with this technology, but it's not working in their favor right now. It's kind of incredible how we still have enough democracy left, because they're trying to. It's just it's a push pull right now. They take an inch, we push them back. They try to go another 2 inches. We push back. They try to go another 3 inches. And it's this push pull happening right now, and they're not quite there yet. We haven't lost Canada. We haven't lost our countries. There is still hope there. Absolutely. These are nothing but weaklings trying to do a power grab. That's it. This is an Adolf Hitler move, right out of an Adolf Hitler book. So, it's word for word what the Nazis tried to do, and that's exactly what it is. And we're fighting back with everything we got, and technology is giving us that ability.
Yeah, that's kind of where we come in. That's why I think it's really important that we keep posting so that we can all share it. So I love that everything you came out with, and yeah, I'm encouraging you to like keep doing it, Colin. You're very fast. If you can whip up these TikToks in a matter of seconds, and come on.
It's all like this. I'm just like what? I do get very tired by it. It does. There's times I just want to just like throw my phone in the river and just forget this is all happening, but also realizing that nobody's coming to save us. You know what I mean? And we have to step up right now. And we got to put in a little bit of overtime. There's no paycheck here for anybody. I work full time. I have my clothing brand on the side, and I sell glutathione actually as well. Glutathione is next level product, by the way, for people trying to detox the vaccine out of the body. It takes like the heavy metals out, the graphene oxide. And I've given it to so many people, and they're seeing like insane results. So yeah, it's like a master detoxifier. Like it is next level, and I'm just trying to help. That's all I want to do. I just want to help. I don't care about money. I don't care about those things. Money is a tool to me. I use it as a tool to keep me going, because in this 3D world, we need money, right? But honestly, I could go without it, because I've seen what it's done to our world. You know what I mean? It's made everybody a sellout. All our politicians, like people are at the point right now where they don't even know what to do. Like that's
and the media being bought and paid for, with special government grants and everything.
Oh yeah, everybody being bought and paid for, not just the media. Okay, we're talking everybody, every governing body in Canada, the top of the RCMP. Look at Brenda Lucki. She's trying to all of a sudden retire. The top of the healthcare industry, every industry, politicians, you name it. It all comes from the top of the pyramid, and then the orders trickle down. And this is what happens: is you have good people doing bad things to good people. It's not like these people are bad that are in the lower levels, but it's coming from the top, and they're sending orders down to people who are in these webs, and then they end up turning on their fellow man. It's just it's definitely Nazi. It's like it's Hitler's Germany all over again.
Yeah, and also from a media point of view, it kind of reminds me of the old, when we were probably going back 20, 30 years ago now. Like I'm almost 50, so. But when I was a teenager, you would see that this would be a controversial subject on a like a sitcom or a TV show about selling out to the mainstream media. This was actually you'd have these long running series, and they have different topics every week, and they used to actually talk about social issues on a sitcom. They used to actually try and touch them, whereas now it's completely the opposite. Now they're pushing extreme agendas. Absolute extreme agendas, which are completely crazy for the most part.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right about the mainstream media, though. Like propaganda. You know what I mean? And that's the driving force. They use propaganda.
That's how I woke up, because I saw what the lies that the media was saying about you guys in Ottawa. Because it wasn't jiving. I was watching what was happening, and it wasn't jiving with what they were saying. And then, of course, like Trudeau calling you guys, misogynist, racist, and then the media took that and ran with it. And look at the damage it caused. You guys didn't stand a chance. The convoy wasn't even in Ottawa yet, and you guys were all painted with the same big paintbrush. And so, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, what they do exactly. So the second anybody starts gaining a voice, and this is already happening to me right now, even the second you start gaining a voice, what they do is they dig into your past. They go into the deepest part of your past, and they find some incident where you did something stupid, and we're all guilty of doing something stupid in our lives. And they'll dig into that, and then they'll go for it. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, this guy said something, maybe it was racist sounding or whatever. And then they'll push on it. You know what I mean? And they don't think like, maybe this man's changed, or maybe he found God or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it was 10 years ago, maybe he found the light, right? They don't think that, you know what I mean? They think this is who you are, and that's what they're going to paint you with, because now you're a threat to them, and they want to sink you as fast as you got that voice.
Oh yeah, that's right. They work very hard at it, extremely hard at it.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow,
sorry. I'll just finish in so you can segue out. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so I had a person because even though I've never been on any convoy whatsoever, I've never been on a convoy. I'm in Vietnam, and we are the. At the beginning, I was completely concerned about all this was going on with the lockdowns and all that. And then as time went by, we got involved in supporting the Kiwis doing their convoy, and we wanted to put some effort into it. So we went ahead and really just went hard, sharing all the information and stuff like that. But I tell you, even just doing that alone, even just people were like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? So I suspected somebody, of being some kind of, I don't know, narcissist type person. Who knows? Paid shill or just psychologically, disabled or something like that, or just generally being narcissistic. And I cleared an old email address the other day of 8,000 spam mails. 8,000 spam mails. And right down the bottom, at the beginning of last year, at the beginning of our convoy, there's an email from this very same person. And this is an email address I haven't used or published for probably a good 8 to 10 years. Right? So and I got 2 emails from that person, one a month later, and trying to reach out for me. And of course, this was well over a year ago. But the fact to find an old email like that, which would be very difficult to find because I've changed, that's my original personal email. from when I was living in Japan in 2000, and I stopped using that around 2010. So for about 13 years, I've been using a completely two different emails. So that means that someone made a big effort to go back there and find an email for me because I couldn't find a new one. Find my old email and then send me an email.
Yeah, well, welcome to the game, my friend. We've been getting slandered for this World Unity Convoy for well over a month. There's actually one guy who's just a complete narcissist, you know, like he's got this crazy vendetta for people in our movement. He apparently was on board earlier. He has this show called Maverick News, right?
I've seen that guy.
His name's Rick Walker. His name's Rick Walker, and he's been slandering us all he can. Like he put this stupid looking picture of me on there because I've openly talked about I used to be in drug addiction. Like I used to be walking a dark road. You know, I was in drug dealing, all kinds of shit like that. You know, and I found the light and I corrected it. You know what I mean? I said no, like that life. I don't want that life anymore, and I've openly talked about this on podcasts. So he finds videos that I've already made. You know, and he tries to spin this whole narrative on me like cocaine and convoys, right? And then he'll bring up a picture and then he'll just paint whatever his little narcissistic brain wants to paint around that. This guy's an XCTV news broadcaster. He's like, he's told more lies than you could possibly imagine. And people are listening to him, you know, they're listening to this guy talk and just like, he'll bring you on his show. I've actually I've declined going on his show a few times, and it pisses him right off. And I think it's hilarious because why would I give him the time of day? He's just grifting me for views for his little own psychotic journey that he's on, trying to paint this picture that, you know, we're trying to overthrow the government and Winnipeg is the new capital of Canada, and it's like total bullshit. We're trying to bring people together to come up with solutions so we don't have to go down those roads, so we don't have to look to, you know, the most extreme things. We're trying to find solutions where we can come together as Canadians, put together our resources, and press forward. And then he's got his little buddy called Matt Unseated. Matt Nickel is his name, or Matthew Nickel. He's another strange one, I'll tell you. And he made this whole thing about me that I'm a Freemason, and you know, one of my ancestors, Louis Riel, is a Freemason. This guy's like he's a Métis mixed Indigenous guy who stood up for our people getting genocide. You know, he was killed by the British, you know, in the 1800s. And he somehow is putting this spin on that, you know, we're a part of this Illuminati, and I work for the United Nations. And it's just like, he's so out to lunch. And I tried reaching out to him to try to set the record straight, say like, bro, I can debunk everything you're saying about me. Like he's even going on my clothing line and being like, woo, this is like some Mason symbols here, like satanic. It's like, dude, everything, you could pretty much take a symbol that looks like this on anything, and then you could be like, oh yeah, that's satanic. Like, you know what I mean? While you're sitting in your mother's basement playing on a computer with a visual, you know, it's just like, it's just incredible the lengths that people will go to try to drag you down. And then I tried to talk to him actually, and he was talking to me a little bit. And then he told me that the entire convoy was a bunch of actors, paid actors. He thinks we're all paid actors. And then I was just like, okay, he's fucking lost it. Like he's lost it. Because if you were at that convoy, you know that it wasn't paid actors and it was organic, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and actually that's a good segue. And Rosie's going to introduce that because we're going to unpack that little graphic. Go ahead, Rosie. Talk about that next week with Daniel.
Oh yes, of course. The graph, the chart that came out. But yeah, I think Rick from Maverick News, he's been told that I work for MSM.
Well, Rick's just like, he's spending too much time in his house, or somebody's slipping up a couple $20 bills under the table or something. Like he's just on this like little psychotic trend right now, and it's a complete joke. He's like a Jerry Springer show, you know. And like I was actually going to go on his show to set the record straight with him, and then he asked me to come on his show And I look at his headline for the day, and he says, "Swastikas at the Unity Convoy." And I'm like, why would I go on your show with that headline? And he's like, and he's getting all mad because I won't go on a show. I'm like, dude, you think I'm some fool? You're just going to play like a fiddle? Like, I'm not going on your show with a headline like that. I'm not going on your Jerry Springer show. I'm sorry, Rick. And he was showing all the comments I said to him in his little show, you know what I mean? Like, and they're like trying to call me out, like, oh yeah, Big Bear's a sissy, he won't come on my show. It's like, no, I don't want to give this guy any of my time because he's not worth my time. You're a psychopath. You're putting up pictures on a wall and you're just painting it in your own brain to how you want it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then digging into people's history to try to slander them. You know what I mean? That's not integrity. That's a very immoral person.
It's a clown show for sure. So
yeah. I call you know what I like to I like to call him Dick. I like to call him Dick Walker. Because that's what he is, Dick Walker. Yeah.
And to be generous to these folks, I mean, with the advent of YouTube and the cell phone camera and a headset, like anyone can basically become an influencer, or back in the old days we call them like a newsy podcast or a news type person. So anyone now can get out there and which is actually quite good. I mean, I encourage.
Yeah, totally.
I encourage diversity,
yeah.
But again, too much time in a dark room going over personal conspiracies about personal people who are not even actually the problem that we're supposed to be looking at. We're supposed to be looking at the broader picture. We're supposed to be looking at the corporate entity, which is trying to rearrange the landscape so much that we can't even recognize it ourselves.
Well,
they lose themselves. Yeah.
That's what Rick Walker's doing in this show. He's made his entire show about the Unity Convoy because that's what people are talking about. He's not talking about Trudeau. He's not talking about the people who are losing their lives to suicide, to mental health, to addiction overdose. He's not talking about the real problems. He's trying to slander good people who he just doesn't like, or he's getting paid to not like them. I don't know. I don't know the man personally, okay? I've heard that he was for the convoy originally, but he's gone too far. You don't bring someone on your show, smile with them, oh yeah, and I agree with you. Oh yeah, I agree with you. And then he hangs up the phone and he puts this look in his eyes and he's like, I'm not doing that. And it's like dude,
glorified shock jock.
Yeah, you're just like multiple personality, like you're smiling to someone's face on the show, and then the second you hang up with them, you're calling them out. Like he had this thing with I think his name's Phil Primo, and every day he's calling him the Unity Convoy organizer, right? In his headlines. And they're bickering back and forth and they're hating each other. And he'll probably do the same after he watches this show again to me. But hey, whatever, Rick. Or I should I say Dick? But yeah, he puts in his head. He brings the guy on, and the guy Phil tells him, "Hey, I'm not a part of the Unity Convoy organizers." And then a couple days later, it's in his headline again. It's like, man, why didn't you just say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that," and correct you're wrong. But now people see you caught up in that lie, but you're sticking with it. What is that called?
Yeah, it's called it's that deer, the deer in the headlights. Shocked they can't do anything. But can we get 2 minutes and 49 seconds of convoy video?
Yeah, let's go. Let's steer it back to the World Unity Convoy.
Yeah. I got to show you because this is beautiful. Nice landscape image as well. This is absolutely beautiful. I don't have a lot of context in this. This is just posted in our group. We have the World Unity Food Drive group, World Unity Food Drive, New Zealand. But we started off our campaign obviously by supporting the Canadian convoy because we're also our group's pretty OG about the original convoy. So I just got to play this. We got to do some hooting and tooting. Hang on a second.
Honk honk.
Look at that.
That's me right there, black truck.
Nice.
There you go.
Andy, are you doing an account for us?
What's that?
Hey, I know that guy.
Whoever is the much appreciated. That way we know we can keep this.
That's a handsome.
So this is Western, isn't it? This is Western. This is obviously your crew. So you're on the Western convoy.
Yeah, that's from the west.
We got a slow rolling truck on the side there. We got a slow roller.
We had some big rigs jump in with us today.
It's
See
so.
that? I could sit and watch this all day, to be honest. This is my kind of entertainment.
Yeah, it was a lot of good energy. Yeah,
Some beautiful
and
trucks,
sometimes
too.
the convoys they get spaced out, so they'll come in like little swarms, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, you can't always keep it in a perfect line completely because you get people who want to jump in and get ahead and roadblocks and traffic lights and all that kind of stuff carrying on. Yeah.
I love that there's
So-
so many people that are not personally in that convoy. This is wonderful. This is great.
You know, these people are the most amazing people you'll ever meet in your life. Like the people I met within the freedom movement have the best, biggest heart. They wear it on their sleeves.
On the radio that going for the hub, we will get broken up for these lights. We are staying strong.
Turn that volume down. We'll keep it. Hey, you know what we can do, Rosie? If we keep like the little, every now and then, I'll keep sharing random videos while we're talking, so people can get a scope of the broader feeling of it.
Let's
How's
do
that?
it.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that one. Woo!
There's a whole bunch of good stuff that we've got out of both the groups. So this one here, folks, you can see that this is the Western Convoy, World Unity Convoy to Winnipeg. So we'll just click on that so you get a visual of what to look for when you get to the Facebook group. Okay, because this thing is the convoy part of it's just started, but now they've got the big shindig going down this weekend, and also the results of the food drive. And then, of course, we actually eventually want to veer into the food drive, but we're just waiting on one of our food drivers who has been having difficulty making it to our meetings. Our
Is our
interview.
big surprise guest maybe coming? We didn't want to put him on the poster because he stood us up last time.
Oh, did he? Hey, I really want to tell you too. I love what you're doing, by the way, with the Between Two Flags. I really commemorate you both for that. Seriously, it's just amazing how close people are coming together from different parts of the world. So I'm really proud of you two for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, well, absolutely, man. Because there is a lot of infighting. There seriously is a lot of infighting, and it's the same thing in New Zealand as well. There's a lot of useless infighting, but the thing is, they've got their eyes off the prize, right? And they're focusing on the lies, and we can't rise. You know, we follow that. Hey, my part, I didn't even know it. You know,
it's coming from a place. It's coming from a place of trauma. This infighting is coming from a place of trauma. People are desperate for solutions, and they're not happening as fast as they want, and they're seeing the government keep on with their evil plan, so they're lashing out. You know what I mean? This is just normal human reaction. This is trauma. Like, our government has traumatized us. You know, when you lose your finances, you fall apart real damn quick. You know, it don't take much. And especially if you lose your health from a vaccine injury, which there's how many around the world, it doesn't take much for you to lose your job. Now the government won't support you. Now you're homeless, and now you're desperate. You know what I mean? It's very few steps. That's why they're doing this. They want to make us into peasants, because as the middle class, being strong, we have a voice and we have money, so we can actually work against them, right? So they want to turn us into peasants. It's just like going back to when we had kings and all that in the medieval times, right? They can roll over peasants with no weapons, no food, no nothing, right? But if you have an army, You know what I mean? Who has supply lines, who has money, who has oil, who has things to function, right? You can't take them down. So.
Well, it's definitely harder for sure.
Much harder, yes.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that you made it there safely. So Camp Hope, and with Walter Hebert, you're gonna have to give him a hug from me. Him and Maria. I love those guys. I stayed when I went out in April when I convoyed out to Ottawa. We stayed there for a night, and he fed us. And he had just broken ground at Camp Hope. So that morning before we left, we went over and saw the area, and it was just a field of mud. So it's really exciting. I've watched over the year to see how it's developed, and I'm just so proud of him. I'm so proud of everybody who's been involved in the Camp Hope project. And of course, he has his own YouTube channel, Redneck Lifestyles, which I was following before I even woke up. I was following because he's like got all the barbecue stuff. I love barbecue. So
he that's right. He did have his redneck lifestyle. You know, me and Walter have a history together in Ottawa as well. When they arrested all the convoy organizers, there wasn't many influencers left, right? And I was one of them, you know. And then there was a guy named Tom, you know. He helped organize this field in Armprior, you know. And he said, we got a place to go after the police kicked us out of Ottawa. So I said, awesome. I'm jumping on my social media and I'm keeping the flame going. People were coming from all over the nation. They didn't know where to go at all. So I got on my social media and I led them all right to where we were. You know, and we started building our forces again. We started creating our food lines, all those sorts of things to keep the movement going ahead. And Walter showed up there, and it was a beautiful time we had together. It was like, you know, it was like being at a family reunion every day with people that you never met, and it was just a pretty surreal feeling.
Yeah, it's really cool. He was on a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying how he made it to Ottawa just in time to get pepper sprayed twice.
Yeah. Well, you made it to Ottawa just in time to get involved in some drama as well. I think the whole thing was nonstop drama. It's like last night in Auckland, there was an anniversary from the frontliners, right? The Wellington frontliners, and there was there's a place called Shooters, in just out of the downtown area, just on the border of the downtown area, place called Shooters. And it's a BYO place, so people brought their own booze because their liquor license was taken away from them shortly after the 23 days, and he was actually supportive of the convoy himself with his business, so they took his license away. So what they did was they come in last night, and there's about 25 cops, and they raid the place. Like all these frontliners are in there, and they try and stage. It was almost as if it was a psychological operation. It was absolutely a psychological operation because it was like identical, you know, to what was going on the way they were standing there. Yep.
Listen, guess who's in backstage?
Really?
Colin, would you like to meet somebody from New Zealand who's an incredible?
I would love to meet someone from New Zealand. Hey, we already met Jason.
Papa Honez won Whanau at a time in the backstage, so I am going to bring him up. I'm so excited. I watched him last year in New Zealand when he was at the grounds in Wellington. So I'm very excited. So I'm going to bring him. I'm going to bring him right up because tonight I'm just like, oh, it's a night for stars. I'm very excited here.
Perfect.
Hi, Kia ora.
Oh, kia ora whānau.
Kia ora, Papa. You're on the road.
Oh, you know me, man. I've got no time to sit around, bro.
I know you.
We're just going over the harbour bridge. Yeah, sorry about that, man. Yeah.
No worries, brother. All good.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, family. You know, it's funny this, we're in a crisis right now, and it's about this time last year when we were kicking right into gear down Wellington, man.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to say was thank you first off for me and Rach, my darlings over here, Thank you for having us on here, guys. And the struggle's real right now. The struggle is real, man. So they say that they've closed off the roads down to the east coast. I've got people down there looking out for me, and they've closed the roads off because of safety reasons. It's more about control, mate? You know, to be honest, you know, they don't want anyone like us down there taking. Because I've got people ringing me up that want to jump on with us, and we want to take a convoy through there with food, bro. You know,
Yeah,
because
that's right.
because we have the numbers we have at the moment, 9,000 people misplaced from their homes. They have nothing. They have nothing, bro. And I'm trying to get a team together, or we actually start. That's what we're in Auckland to get a team together, bro. To go down and take stuff down to these people. You know what I mean?
Well, there you go, folks. That's the reason for the World Unity. That's the whole reason for the World Unity, is to get together at a drop of a hat. Get together, just like all those random people got joined the convoy. There's no need to think about it. There's no need to plan it. You just get up and go with the flow. Get up, go with your heart. So we'll work with you on that there, Papa. We'll work on that and getting it spread throughout the network and all that, and try and let's see if we can build something over this weekend. I know that you've already come on to World Unity Food Drive, which is fantastic. We really appreciate. And I know that you've been in the swing for quite some time, and you're really right there on the ground checking out the human cost of what's been going on recently.
Yeah.
Now,
to be honest, guys,
can you guys explain to everyone in Canada what's happened in New Zealand exactly? I know you guys had some bad weather there, but can you explain to the Canadian people who are listening right now?
Yeah, sure. So we had a cyclone go over New Zealand. So we're only a little place, mate. So a cyclone basically ate up the North Island. You know what I mean? It came down. It took out a whole lot of regions. There's a whole lot of regions here that have nothing at the moment. No power, no anything. They've gone back to like a third world. The crazy thing about it is there's a lot of people that want to help, but we're being blocked by the police, by, you know what I mean, by the establishment, And the thing what I'm getting from, because we have tens and thousands of people that follow us, right? So what we're getting from them is I always finish my lives with unite the families. So what they're getting now is that it's the power of the people, not the power of the establishment. So in New Zealand, we got split up in New Zealand when we had that thing down in Wellington. People chose sides. And now that we've had this big disaster happen here in New Zealand, we're actually coming together, mate.
Yeah,
we're actually coming together.
And
what I've been preaching, or not preaching, but what I've been putting out there in the last couple of weeks, or the last month, is that the power is in us. You know, I've been telling everybody this. The power is in the people at the bottom. It's not in the people at the top.
That's right.
So Rach and I, just a little bit more, guys. So Rach and I are living evidence that you don't have to be at the top of the pyramid to be making changes. You know, we've been running our charity over here with no funding. You know, and people are saying it's still going. And so 2 years on, I just want to share with you guys. Unity will save us from everything, man. Thank you for having us, guys, man.
Bless you for saying that, brother.
Yeah.
So, Papa, where are you focusing your efforts at the moment? My light keeps going up. But where are you focusing your efforts at the moment? I know that you're personally based in Kaitaia. Do you have any? Maybe you can share some information with me after this broadcast, so I can put this out there in our formal documentation, because we're setting up the group for this weekend starting tomorrow, and also working with Zeb Jackson. She's also actually helped to team up on the message sharing the message that the drives right now are critical
Sure.
for these past few weeks of events in New Zealand. They're absolutely critical. It's a very the situation is very tedious, and there's a lot of infrastructure being taken down. There's a lot of food resources being destroyed through the storms and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about the source of the storm at another time, but the point is now people are quite suffering right now, and we need to get out there and help them. So where are your main sources of operations at the moment now, Papa?
Well, right now, so before Christmas, guys, Rach and I are building a house for free for a family of 12 from nothing. So we've got the walls up, we've got the, and where we're building it is right in this flood zone in the far north, for a family of 12, so we have to go back and finish that next week. We've got it all ready to go. We've just got to put the walls on, the roof on, and do the lining. It will take about 10 days, and then I can concentrate back on the east coast. But where I'm going with it at the moment is I'm about to open up our page, because Rach and I, and 2 years ago, used to collect. We used to collect furniture, clothing, food, and all that. We were doing that on our own anyway. About 2 years ago, so we're about to break back into that after we finish this build for that family of 12, bro. To be honest, so that's three adults and 9 children that were living in tents on their own land up in the far north. And Rach and I got builders involved. We got sponsors involved, and we've nearly finished this dwelling for them up there, so they're not sleeping in tents anymore, and it's costing them nothing. You know what I mean? And that's just and all we're trying to do, bro, is show people the power of unity, the power of positive thinking, man, and also showing up the establishments that are here. So I don't know if you know what an iwi is, but an iwi is like, so I'm Māori, I'm a native from New Zealand. So we have people that run our tribes, and these people are what do you call them? Traders. Oh no, but they're corporate Māoris, right?
Yeah.
And they get like up north. Last year they got $55 million given to them just before Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to show them up. I'm trying to show them up, guys.
Yeah, they're selling their people out. We have the same problem here in Canada. I come from a band called Cree and Métis. We're Aboriginal to Canada as well, and all of our chiefs they've sold their souls for the almighty dollar.
So I look at it now, guys, and I look at where we're at in this time of that. My grandchildren, I've got 32 grandchildren. So this is why I'm so on course with trying to get unity back into our people, and that's all people. This has got nothing to do with colour, bro. This is all people. Hey, all people. You know what I mean? So right now, to answer your question, I've got to go back up north. I've got a lot on, bro. I've got my mum and dad's unveiling this week, and then I've got to go and finish off that build. But I'm on with you guys, man, bro. I'm on with you. I'm sorry about not being on with you guys. I've just been so busy, So anyway, I'll leave it to you guys. I'll listen to you guys now.
All right, cool.
All right. No, let me say, Papa Honez, I watched you last year in Wellington, and I've been following you ever since, and I really, really appreciate what you do for your whanau, and I appreciate it very much. So just sending a lot of love and hugs from Canada from me
personally.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
So
sister.
what happened was Judy and I, we run the New Zealand Truckers Convoy, New Zealand Truckers Convoy 2022 Freedom Facebook page, right, which we set up at the beginning of the New Zealand Convoy to Wellington.
Yeah.
Now this year we haven't focused on the convoys personally because I did a poll and I asked people what do they want? Did they want just a food drive alone, or did they want a big convoy with a food drive? And 58% of the people said that they wanted to have just a local food drive because gasoline is way too expensive now to even bother thinking about a convoy. So what we've done is we've created a system where we have ambassadors, and these are people who are just volunteers, and they volunteer to open their home so people can drop off goods to their home for donation and distribution to people that are suffering from not just the past couple of weeks of calamities, because they are actually a real critical turning point. The last 2 weeks are a really big turning point because it really emphasizes the need for this now. So the ambassadors come on board, they open up their home, and people can drop stuff off at their house. And then we also work with them to find out people in the community that really need it, and we sort of transport that stuff, the supplies, over to that family or over to that small community. So that's essentially what it is. It's about volunteers using a brand, and our brand is World Unity Food Drive, but a collective brand. It's about using a collective brand, even though they're individually operated by themselves and don't have to adhere to any rule whatsoever. But we fall under a brand, and with that brand, we have, like, at the moment we have Caddy, which is in the Bay of Plenty, which is on the east side there. And we've got the Northern, we've got Kaikohe, we're up the Northern, and we've got Massey right now. And we've also we partnered up with Zeb's team in there in Hamilton for the next couple of days. And then we also want to partner up with Papa here, because we know that he's got a very big reach and he's been in this for a long time. So we want to repeat this, even though this is the first time for us. And Judy and I are doing this remotely, but because of our relationships of the convoy and all that we've built up in our groups and all that, we've built up a lot of friendships. And as you said, there are a lot of new groups that have just popped out of the occupation of Wellington. A lot of new networks have been popped out. So people have started to realign themselves as well. That's really important here, that people have realigned themselves a year later. They've had enough time.
Can I chime in for a second, guys?
Sure.
I want to tell you something. I love exactly what I'm hearing from you there, Papa. Papa Honez, is that how you say it? And you know what? We do need to start helping our neighbors. I was saying this at Christmas time. I was doing a lot of fundraising. I got a large influence here in Canada, and I have the ability to influence. And I was doing a lot of fundraising and just basically handing money to single mothers who couldn't put food on their table over Christmas. And that's what it comes down to right now. We got to start helping our brothers and sisters. We got to start doing these food drives. You know, you kind of give me a little bit of a light there inside my mind. You know, we're going so many directions right now, but we really got to start creating our own humanitarian outreach programs here for our people, or else they're going to starve. You know, and I think this could turn into something massive if we start crisscrossing with all the countries around the world, and we become the new Red Cross, and we kick out the, we kick out the greedy, corrupt, money makers who say they're helping people, but really they're just putting the money in their pocket. You know, I had a charity try to recruit me one time because of my voice, hey? And you know what they tried to sell me on? They said, Big Bear, you get to keep 70% of the profits if you want.
Oh, no.
And I was like, what? You're like, yeah, that's how it works with these nonprofits, And I'm like,
charitable trust fund.
I was like, that's not a nonprofit, bro. That's you lining your pockets, And so
that's the situation with a charitable trust. Here's what happens if I work for a charitable trust as a telephone operator. Anyway, what they do is let's say we have a project called Save the Wallaby, right? So we want to send a whole bunch of scientists into the Australian outback and study the wallaby breeding habits and try and help them. But we don't have any access to cash. We're a brand new organization. We don't have any financial support. So what do? We go over to a charitable trust who is running the call center and has the license, right? So we make an agreement with the charitable trust. We say, okay, we want to raise $3 million and we've got and maybe over a window of like 2 months, we want a telephone campaign. So all these cold callers will hit the lines and start calling families from a dialer that they have, which includes all the phone numbers of certain regions. It's a phone book, gigantic phone book that they plug into the dialer, right? And so the contract is okay between charitable trust manager and project organizer, which is the Save the Wallaby people. Okay, so you want $3 million. Okay, so we're going to make a contract for $3 million. And they said, hey, that's great, fantastic. So they get on the telephone and they start making the calls. And then they get up to $3 million, and they may do it within 3 weeks, right? So they want like $1 million a week. It's like, fantastic. They raised all that money. Goal achieved. Only for the Wallaby Fund. Now, from that point on, because their contract is now achieved, they have a time frame of 2 months. So now they can, for 5 more weeks, they can use the same platform to keep raising money, and 100% of that goes directly back to the charitable trust. That's how it works. And
Yeah,
that's why
it's just loophole after loophole after loophole, and that's all they do. They use loopholes for write-offs, where to put money, how to write it off. They know how to play their system, right? We're fighting a system that, you know, if you don't know how to use it properly, you lose in it. So it's all corruption. But I really love what you guys are doing. We should keep this conversation going. We do have a food drive going on right now at the World Unity Convoy. There are people who are bringing tons of food. I do not know the exact amount because we just showed up in Winnipeg, Manitoba tonight, but tomorrow it kicks off. So I'll be able to relay some information to how we were able to help in our communities tomorrow. But I would love to keep the conversation going with you guys about this. I really like the idea of let's get people fed, let's get people taken care of. You know, food is a basic need that we all need to live, you know, and we'll do our part from Canada, and New Zealand's on board, and I can bring in, you name it, Americans, Europeans, whatever. We all got all kinds of connections. And we can start driving this forward and get the message out there. We need to feed the world because, well, the government's going to let us sink. So
we're going to have to change the name of the show from Between Two Flags to Between All Flags.
I'm totally okay with that. We can do that. Absolutely.
Unity without borders.
Right. Yeah. I love that. It's fantastic.
Unity without borders.
That was so great to hear from you guys today. And Papa, we got a bit more talking to do a little bit later on. So we'll let Rosie wrap it up. Rosie, this was awesome, wasn't it, tonight? Aren't you so glad that we decided to just do an impromptu one and just see if we can get it back?
I'm very, very excited. This is definitely one of my more favorite episodes. I'm so grateful to have both of you, Colin BigBear and Papa Honez, one Whanau at a time. I'm so grateful to have you guys. It's so important to me, like pointing out the unity. That all countries, we're all facing the same thing, and if we all just stay together and we bring out the best in each other, and the best is to help our communities, to help each other. It really is. It's important to be a light in these dark times, and so I'm just so excited to be here and to be able to have you guys on my show. Jason, you're always the best co-host ever. So, yeah,
Papa Honez, so you'll keep in touch, please, and Rachel too.
Oh, well, you know, guys, to be honest, I think this is a good thing that we kicked off with. I think we're all walking in the same direction, and put all of our ideas together, and we've got the master plan. That's what I reckon.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's right.
The times have changed. The time for convoying for New Zealand, at least, because we're a much smaller country, and we're already well deep into this crisis, this fuel crisis, food crisis. We're well deep into it. So, of course, for Canada's a much larger country, and they still have a lot of fighting to do. We've been able to gain ground because of our small-sized country. We've been able to get a rollback of the hate speech law. They've rolled that back. We've had a resignation from our horseman in chief. And so we've been able to make small goals there, and I'm very certain that it's every single person that was involved in Wellington, and prior to that, of course, over the past few years, of people who are aware So, of course, for New Zealand, at that time of the convoy was beautiful, it was sweet, but it's time to move on. People are really suffering. And so we're going in a new direction this year. And that is straight down on the ground, looking after the people who are really, really feeling the hits and the pain. And then we're with you, Papa. So we'll get on to, this is not the very last one that we'll do. It's the first of hopefully in the beginning a monthly trial for a year, and let's see if we can get momentum up with corporate sponsors, commercial sponsors, local people, and give the power to community leaders and put it in their hands under a banner, under a big banner, which is global.
Well, guys, I just want to share one thing with you. Check it out, man. So welcome to all my family. This is all my family in Auckland. So that's
Can you raise them on?
Oh, here. Can you show us again?
Can you show us again? We just got to put you on the full screen.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Hi. So can you show us again what you just showed us out the
Māori cemetery in Auckland? So I'm parked outside. So my mum and dad are buried right up the back there.
Okay. There's your Whanau.
That was okay. So there's a cemetery. That's where all my family's buried, right here. And so those people in there keep me grounded to my time. Me and my darling, we're passionate about our work. We're actually here to sell a car today, eh? So we're here. You got to do stuff to keep yourself going. Don't give up, guys. We can do this. We can do this. That's why we come to Auckland. We came to Auckland to sell a car. We get a bit more money, and then we can go and finish the house. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just don't give up, man.
Absolutely.
You guys seen us down in Wellington. You seen everybody down there. When I was on the negotiating table with the police, I remember the police saying to me, "Hey, babe, remember that?" He goes, "This guy says to me, Papa, how long do you reckon you guys can last in Wellington?" And I says to him, "Bro, don't hold your breath." I was like, "We're here to stay." We're here to stay, bro.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'd like to talk about that another day, but I've got stuff to do, guys. So thank you for having us.
Thank you, Papa. We'll be in more. I've got more contact with you. So when you get a minute, just give me a buzz on Telegram. We can just go over a couple of things real quick before tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah, man.
All right, thank you so much.
Cheers, bro.
Awesome,
thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Brother,
Have a good night, brother. Blessings to you.
Good night, bro. Good night, bro. And thank you, Colin BigBear.
Hey, Colin BigBear on Facebook. If anyone wants to follow me on your guys' side, Colin BigBear, COLIN, BigBear on Facebook, TikTok. I'm the Big Bear Movement. So feel free to follow us. Let's get connected around the world. I like where this conversation's going. We need to help each other. We're all human beings here, and we need to help humanity.
Awesome. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Much love to you guys. Blessings.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, well, I guess that about wraps it up. Thank you for everybody who's still watching and for all the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, to the channel, and we'll be doing like a weekly show, absolutely. Always between two flags, or I guess pretty soon between all flags.
Yeah.
Borders.
World Unity.
Let's help each other out.
World Unity.
We'll continue to share between all the groups and everything. Thank you, Colin, so much for Colin BigBear. I'm just so excited. This is a dream come true for me to have both you guys on the show. I'm just on cloud 9 right now. So
in one hit.
You too, Jason. You're pretty good too, Jason. Couldn't do without you. So anyway. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the show tonight. And don't forget to subscribe, like I said, and leave a comment if you can. Let's kick that YouTube algorithm's butt a little bit. Okay? So
and you'll find Colin BigBear's Facebook in the YouTube chat, and you'll see Papa Honez page there in the YouTube chat as well. So keep your eye on the ball, keep your eye on the prize.
Yes, let's do this all, right? There is no
power to the people.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Power to the people. All right. Love you guys. Have a good night.
Love you guys.
Blessings.